When you close our last session, I said to you that we're not going to be stoning our children, and I'll be telling you why we'll not be stoning them. You remember the incident in the New Testament where a woman who was caught in adultery was brought to Christ? And the punishment for adultery in the Old Testament was that you stone the person caught in it. And they brought this woman and shamed her in front of Christ. And they say to her, we caught this woman in the very act. Now the law of Moses says we stone such a one. What do you say? And Christ stooped down and began to write in the ground. And he said to them, let the one who has no sin be the first to stone her. And he continued writing on the ground. And the scripture says they all walked away one by one, starting with the oldest. Christ gave us a different way of interpreting that. He did not allow the woman to continue in her sin, but neither did he allow her to be stoned. Finally, he turned to the woman and asked her, where are your accusers? He said they had all left. And he said he would not condemn her either, but he said to her, go and sin no more. So Christ is not diluting the standard of not sinning, but he is not stoning this woman, even though the law required they be stoned. Christ is showing her grace. Christ is extending grace and giving her a chance to have her life reformed. And we will, in this series, be extending grace to our children, giving them a chance to reform. Yes, we will discipline them when they need it, but we will not stone them. You see, friends, a rebellious nature is conceived and nurtured in a home where parents relinquish control of their children. Much of this rebellion starts very early in life, and the kids are getting their own way. They refuse to listen to what they are being told. Let me paint a picture. If you've grown up in Kenya and you eat ugali, or probably in Southern Africa you eat nshima or sadza, and families grow up eating that. And in some families you eat that with the bitter vegetables and you call it a very sweet meal. There is nothing sweet in it. It's delicious, but some children don't like it. And it's Friday evening and everybody's sitting and they want to enjoy that meal. And 4-year-old Monica says, I don't want to eat. Why don't you want to eat? I don't like sadza. I don't like ugali. Well, you both know she's not allergic to it. We trained our children when they don't like something, they only eat a small portion of it. But in your home, you may have different convictions. You quickly turn around to auntie. That's how in most African homes they call the house help. Auntie, is there any more spaghetti in the fridge? The one we had yesterday. And auntie goes in there and there is no more spaghetti. But auntie wants to please her employer. Says, don't worry, mom, I can fix her something. And in 10 minutes, spaghetti is ready. And little Monica is eating her spaghetti while everybody else is eating salsa. Fast forward that 10 years later, little Monica is not 4. She's now 14. She has been used to pushing and getting her way, and now she's doing what you have trained her to do. And now you think something drastic has happened to her in her teenage years. Nothing drastic has happened. She's continuing along the line that she was trained on in her early years. You see, the rebellious person wants to be always in control. And when they fail to be in control, whether it's for a good reason or a bad reason, they throw a tantrum. And this tantrum can manifest itself one way for a 4-year-old, another way for a teenager. It will manifest itself in one way for a person who is working, in a different way in marriage. But nonetheless a temper tantrum because someone is not getting their way. And as a parent, you need to be very, very careful how you raise these children. And some of you parents who are watching these lectures and listening to me because of your teenage children also have younger children. And I hope that you can glean some lessons on the things you missed out to their younger children and begin to attend to them so they don't turn out like the rebellious 14-year-old that is sitting in your house and you don't know what to do with them. You're wishing that they could turn 18 and leave home. But another part of you is thinking they are not ready to leave home, and you are struggling, wondering what to do. And I want to give you 9 things that you can expect to see as you raise your teenagers. These 9 things will not be visible in every teenager. But if you had 50 parents together and they were all listening to this lecture, all these things will be manifested among those parents, but not necessarily for any one child. The first one is a desire to be independent or separate from the parents. So when the kids were younger and you came home and they wanted to hang around you, they followed you everywhere like a shadow. You came home and they said, "Mommy, can we play? Daddy, can we play?" And you are tired and you're always saying no. Let me encourage you. When they ask you, "Can we play?" make sure you always say yes. Tell the children, "Oh, just give me 10 minutes. Let me remove my high heels. Let me change my clothes. Let me take my cup of tea. Let me put away my briefcase. Then we can play." They want your attention. But when they become teenagers, they want the attention of their friends. You come home and they come and give you a high five. "Hi, Dad. How was work today?" And then they disappear. And you're asking, "Michael, Lucy, they're gone. Where are they gone to? To be with their friends." They're not running away from you. They're just enjoying the company of their friends. And many of these children are transitioning from primary school into secondary school. And they're interacting with friends who are not part of their crowd when they were younger. And they're intrigued by these friends. They begin to adopt values from these friends. The influence from peers and the influence from the opinions of peers becomes important. Your child is feeling misunderstood. Your child is feeling persecuted. If you have curfew rules or other rules in the home, they are breaking those rules. Not because they want to break them, but because they are growing and they're understanding life differently. Perhaps your rules say dishes must be washed immediately after dinner, and your teenager has homework to do, and they're asking, "Mom, can I wash them an hour after dinner when I'm taking a break from my studies?" And you're struggling with that. And they are growing. Now I want you to realize that this growth is good for them and is good for you. Point number 2 is that they become self-conscious and become preoccupied with their looks. You know, when you're dealing with 7, 8-year-old boys or girls, they're wearing blue jeans and wearing t-shirts. Who really cares what gender they are? But now they're becoming self-conscious and worrying about how they look. They have a little pimple here which is invisible to you, but they're preoccupied with it. They are spending time in the mirror looking at that pimple. The girls are wondering if all the boys have noticed it. They are preoccupied with themselves. The third area is self-centeredness. Now you're going to like this one. They are self-centered. They're actually selfish. They disregard the feelings of others and place their own needs before the needs of others. You come home from the supermarket or perhaps from buying some fruit along the roadside. You come home with these 2 bunches of 12 bananas per bunch, and you bring them home. You've got these 24 bananas. And, there's 4 children in the home, and there's 2 parents, there's six of you. And you have done a rough math. You know there's enough bananas for 4 each. But you haven't told anybody that there's 4 each. So you get home and you put your bananas there, and you walk out for a few minutes and you come back, and 1 bunch of bananas is gone. And you're wondering what happened, and you look in the bag, you go back to the car, and you did offload it. And you ask, "Jimmy, did you see the other bananas?" And you go to his room, and the other bunch of 12 is there, and 6 of them have already been consumed. You're thinking, "Jimmy, how could you do that?" You've already eaten 6 bananas. And Jimmy loves bananas and is not thinking about others who love bananas. They just want them for themselves. And you're frustrated that your child is self-centered, and they are frustrated because you bought them the thing they like and you don't want them to have it, or that's how they're interpreting it. Does that sound like your home? Remember, your child is normal if they're going through that. But after us will be asking the question, is normal always acceptable?